Good morning, primary threes. Alright, so today we are going to learn about the way of life in ancient Egypt. And of course, photos of artifacts will help us find out about how ancient Egyptians lived. Number one, here we've got clothing. So the ancient Egyptians used the plant called flax, which they made into linen for making clothes. Most clothes weren't dyed with colors and were just plain white. Why do you think they don't like colors on their clothes? That is because white reflects light and dark-colored clothing absorbs it. So the more heat that is absorbed, the hotter the clothing is and the hotter you will feel. So if you're living in the desert, especially in Sahara, would you like to wear dark-colored clothing? Nah, I wouldn't. Now for male ancient Egyptians, linen cloth would be wrapped around the body like a kilt. Like this man here, he's wearing a kilt, like a knee-length skirt for men, right? And then cloaks were also worn when it was cooler. Remember that in the desert, it's cool at night. And then like these ladies here on the top right photo, if you can see, they are wearing cloaks. Number two, we have leisure. So the ancient Egyptians loved to sing and dance. They had lots of different musical instruments that they enjoyed playing. Of course, when there's music, what you gonna do? Dance. Alright, so children had lots of toys and games, just like we do today. They also had pets. And they also liked reading, especially the rich ancient Egyptians. The game of Senet, which is also known as the game of the royals, was a board game that even pharaohs played. Noblemen or the rich people enjoyed hunting games. King Tut, for example, loved hunting ostriches on his free time. And they also held parties. Poor ancient Egyptians, or the commoners, like farmers and craftsmen, they play games in the river, where they swim and fish too. As you can see on the photo on the right side, they are hunting this poor hippopotamus. Now let's go to number three, which is food and drink. Ancient Egyptians grew lots of barley and wheat, which allowed them to make bread and cakes. Cakes, of course, were sweetened with honey and dates. Oh, that rhymes. Cakes and dates. They also had lots of vegetables like onions and beans, lentils, cabbages, and garlic. Poor people ate fish and rich people ate meat. Poor people drank beer from barley and rich people drank wine from grapes. I wanted to say apple, sorry. No, grapes. Number four, we have homes or houses, right? So they were made from mud bricks. These were then covered in plaster, and walls were often painted inside. Of course, they have to make it a little bit fancy inside because they stay inside the house. And they had small windows to keep the houses cool and to keep the dust out. Now, what do you think will happen if the windows were wider? Okay, now so the photo here, the smaller photo here, is the house of a poor ancient Egyptian. Now let's see wealthy people houses. Here, they would have bigger houses with lots of rooms. And they also have their own bathrooms and they have their own swimming pool. Number five, jewelry. There were lots of gold mines around the Nile River, and of course, ancient Egyptians loved turning the gold into beautiful jewelry. Lots of precious stones were found in the deserts as well. Jewelry was a way to show how important you were in ancient Egypt. Bracelets, necklaces, and earrings often had pictures of the gods carved into them. Remember the pectoral with the eye of Horus? That was found in King Tut's tomb. It was common to decorate ancient Egyptian jewelry with gods and religious symbols because they wanted to please the gods. Everyone wore jewelry in ancient Egypt, from poor farmers to wealthy royals. For the rich people, their jewelry was made from precious stones, precious metals like gold, and glass beads. The poor used painted clay or stones, shells, animal teeth, and bones. Number 6, we have religion. Ancient Egyptians believed in many different gods and goddesses. Remember the lyrics in our song Ancient Egypt? We're polytheists. Yep, polytheism is believing or worshipping more than one god. That means many gods. Alright, so ancient Egyptians also believed that there was an afterlife, and they call it duat. So in Islam, they got this duat, and for Christians they have heaven. They say that you had to have a good heart in life. That means while you are still living, so that you will be able to go to duat. Now we have here the list of gods and a goddess. Okay, just a goddess because it's only Isis. Right, the first one here we have Ra or Re. Okay, Ra is the sun god and the king of the gods. He is believed to be the creator of everything. The next one we have Amun. Okay, Amun is the god of the sun and air. Next one we have Osiris. Osiris is a god of fertility, agriculture, the god of afterlife, the god of death, the god of resurrection, the god of life, and the god of vegetation. Wow, that's a lot. Next we have Isis. Isis is the goddess or was the goddess of healing and magic. Now we have Horus. Horus is the god of kingship and the sun and the sky. Now let's have Anubis. Anubis is a god of death, mummification, embalming, the afterlife, god of cemeteries, god of tombs, and the god of the underworld. Now we have the last one. We have Thoth or Thoth. Now he is a god of writing, magic, wisdom, and the moon.